Well, welcome to Friday night, Jinx Shifters AOSC race 198 tonight, coming from Barcelona, Catalunya tonight. Of course, 150k race. We've had a 3-week wait, so it's been 3 weeks since we've been on. Of course, my name is Matty Kavanagh, one of your commentators, and joining me tonight in the commentary box will be Daniel Leet and Matthew Norris. Welcome tonight, Dan.
Yeah, g'day mate. Great to be back. 3 weeks is a long time in anyone's language, but good to be back at the track. Fantastic circuit here tonight in the historic layout for Barcelona, and looking forward to seeing some flash new liveries out there tonight as well.
Yeah, we have seen a few of those change in the break as well, and all of us have a little bit of a hunger to get back underway at racing course. Jinx Shifters, our series sponsor. Big shout out to those guys and girls. RaceKraft Simulations, of course, over in WA. Good to see Johnny and the boys been doing plenty of stuff. You follow them on the social media, so they've got plenty of gear there. And of course, they join up with simrigs.com, who supply a fair bit of the gear over there, and everything you need, especially the pedal sets, man. Simrigs.com do some fantastic things. AJ Insurance Services, of course, if you need to check into your business insurance. Race Circuit Art Australia, if you want to get something cut out. Acuta Materials, especially if you want to get into some rigging, something like that, or with communications, or your ladders, all that sort of anchor points, go and see Acuta. Track Cancel Gourmets, who have provided us with some extra camera angles out there for your broadcast here tonight. And of course, Team 126 Racing, who are joining us all the way over from America there and restreaming it over there for us and making sure we can get out to as many viewers as possible. And it is race 198 from Barcelona, and we are in qualifying at the moment, Dan, and it looks like Jordan Ross came out very early, and that time was set actually on the first full lap he completed. So we might see some times a little bit faster. We did see in the pre-qualifying them get down into the 143s. So maybe though, with the reset of the track conditions, we'll be lucky to see maybe a flat 144 here when it comes to qualifying. But Jordan Ross and the JK Signs Synergy Sim Racing entry, you can see up on screen, is the man to beat. It looks like he's looking for a little bit of free air at the moment. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting race tonight. 13 corners to get around. Dan, how do you think it's going to go? Run us through a lap.
Well, yeah, it's an interesting circuit, this one. It's a long time since we've been back here. Back in Season 8 was our last track to this circuit, and at that time it was a 650k event, season opener, and that race, for the viewers who tuned in back then, taken out by Forza Narby and Harley Haber. So we're in for a bit of an interesting one, as you say. We saw qualifying in the second server tonight get down as low as a 143, a little bit off that at the moment. Track temperatures are pretty good for the guys, but as we see them on screen at the moment, just trying to find that little bit of space out there to get a lap to go. And 46 degrees, a little bit slippery for the guys there, as you see Ross just struggling a little bit to get the nose of that car in through the corner to begin his next flying lap. But it's going to be interesting. Still a lot of time left for the guys to set a quick lap, and at the moment 700ths of a second separating Jordan Ross and Adam Briggs out front.
And notably, someone who is not here tonight is our current series leader, which is Corey Shepherd. So we haven't seen James Scott here all season, probably not expecting him to be in here tonight. We've seen him for most of the endurance races. But Corey Shepherd not here so far tonight. There is still a chance he'll get him qualifying. Currently leading the championship out in front by just under 300. So 280 points out in front over Adam Briggs, who is in the server tonight and currently sitting in second fastest. Only 100th off of Jordan Ross. So if he can get a front row start here tonight, definitely could try and accumulate a few points there to try and close that gap down to Corey Shepherd. Jordan Ross sitting third in the championship after that, about 90 points, 110 points behind Adam Briggs. Then we go back to Brian Borg in fourth, and James Scott, who is super impressive that he's only been here. I'm just going to have a quick look at how many races. He's actually only been here for 5 of the 7 races. 4 of the 6 races we've had, sorry. So he's only been here for 2/3 of the races, sitting in 5th spot in the points there on 1,250. So that's been super impressive. Corey Shepherd only just missed out in a podium last race, and we've seen him at the back end of that race. It was about 10 laps from the finish from memory. Just, trying to do some overtaking manoeuvres there and battling it out in the top 3, but some lap traffic there just got in the way there when he was trying to do an overtaking manoeuvre and pushed him back. He ended up finishing 5th last. So Corey Shepherd there might missing tonight, might hurt him, might not. Of course, we do have our drop round when it comes to the end of the season, Dan.
Yeah, and that'll be all things that the guys will be considering. Obviously, we know Shepherd and James both have brought themselves up into another championship that's broadcast, and they're doing a fantastic job in that. So probably putting a lot of focus going forward in that one there. Just having a look at Rick Kuznetsov. Had a purple second sector, green final sector, a little bit of a slide there at the end of that lap. Not quite enough to move him forward though, so he'll stick in that third position. Todd Haynes, a notable improvement as well, currently in that 4th position for Taipan Esports. So again, those guys have worked very hard in the little bit of a break there and found more pace in these cars as well, which is great to see.
Yeah, well, brother Adam Hayne not far back in 6th position at the moment. So the Hayne train getting faster and faster every round they come into the AOSC. Can't wait to see if maybe tonight they can put them in themselves in some podium contention. Just trying to see where we've actually ended up with Daiso in the Phoenix Smokers entry, because last week, well, he had a major problem, didn't he? End up joining us in the commentary box.
You're exactly right. He had a power outage, unfortunately for him, just at the start of that one. Didn't get in there, but he provided some fantastic insights in the box for how the guys navigate these cars around at that race. It was Matigi, and yeah, he's back out on circuit tonight. So big things for the Smoker there, and hopefully he'll be able to light that up and get into it after the race.
Don't forget our driver of the day points, all thanks to RaceKraft Simulations and simrigs.com. A pedal set to be given away, and those votes will be coming in after each round. Someone who, not necessarily the winner of the race, but someone who's had some adversity throughout the race, managed to come back, whether they've just been involved in some battles, some consistent times, whatever it is, someone who sort of catches our eye. We go through our top 3 there to get the points together. So the driver of the day pedal set still up for grabs in this season at the moment. Rob Bodum, Adam Briggs both on 5 points, and Corey Shepherd on 4. So we'll wait to see how that all ends up at the end of the season. A fantastic prize that we can give away as part of the AOSC 11 at the moment. Of course, number 11 is race number 7 here, which is 198 in the history of AOSC, as we just watch a bit of a goes to the end and a bit of a reset in qualifying. As you will see, guys will be light on fuel during this one. They'll just want to come out, do the out lap, 1 lap in, and then reset and do it all again. Looking for some space out here. The track's not too small though, really, Dan. There's a little bit of room to get around there, 4.7 kilometres here in the historic layout. So quite a bit of room to space out there, but everyone out at the moment, only 1 server going tonight. So we've got quite a few entries in there at the moment. I think we're up to 42 to see who is out there. Matthew Norris, you've joined us here in the commentary box again. Welcome back, mate.
G'day, Cav. G'day, Dan. And let's have a great race here on Friday night.
Good to see the quality has joined us in here, of course. Seeing Norris back. Now, take us through. We have 2 minimum compulsory pit stops. What would be your strategy tonight, Norrie?
Tonight's actually really easy. It's not difficult at all. The fuel burn is only about 29 laps to a tank, and there's only 31 laps to do. So a couple of shorter stints tonight, but it's not going to be too difficult at all for these guys. They're all pretty well talented with this sort of thing by now. And coming into race 198 of the AOSC, they're pretty well sorted.
You think we'll see someone come in on lap 1? Obviously, they need to cross the start-finish line, don't they, and complete the first lap to go into the pits, but it'd be your strategy maybe just to knock them out of the way very, very early.
On the contrary, Cav, I would actually run really long. I would run really long, and then I'd run home with fresh fuel and light tyres on the end.
Well, we'll see what people want to do tonight. There might be some alternate strategies. Turn number 1, guys. I mean, a bit of comment on that. It's a bit of an S-bend through there. Are we going to see the old Verstappen, over the top of someone else? Maybe go over the top of a Hamilton, maybe?
I don't think we'll see it. I think the interesting one will be, and for those that watched the E-Series last year, we saw Verstappen race in that one and had a very unique wide line through turn 1, and maybe the guys will emulate that to try and pick that little bit of a slingshot up to set themselves through on the opening lap.
I'm going to call it a Hayne and Borg corner.
We'll find out. Will the truck driver and the train driver come together? Is that what's going to happen?
One would hope, if I picked it right, that I'm going to Ladbrokes.
Got to see a safety car tonight, guys. We always have to talk about this one. Safety car. We're expecting. I'm going to say 1 tonight. That's going to be my guess.
1, if at all, tonight.
If at all.
I would be surprised if we actually see that come out. I think it'll be a green flag to flag race for the guys.
Well, that'd be a nice, easy night for race control 1. If we don't see a safety car tonight, that'll give someone a bit of a breathing space there. We won't see the Acuta Jinx Shifters safety car come out. Hopefully tonight, maybe we can get through all these laps here, because we do only have 31 to get through. Will have to be a very interesting race tonight. Also, we've got to talk about last week, or 3 weeks ago. Tom Freer managed to get himself up there on the podium in 3rd place. So he managed to get through some driving there and make something of that last week. Maybe he can do that again at the moment. Just trying to see. He is not up the top there when it comes to qualifying compared to where we have seen him. So maybe He's got a little bit of work to do in 10th place at the moment with a 1:44.72. So he's only 5/10 of a second. Maybe he can pull a lap out there.
Yeah, up to 8th on that lap though, Cav. So he did take my tips about driving and threw them out the window and went faster on his own.
Are we surprised about that, Dan?
No, not really. I mean, we've seen what Norrie's able to do in a car, and yeah, for Freer, he's pressing on forward. I think the big thing that we've seen from Freer over the last few seasons, the qualifying early on wasn't as good as probably where it needed to be. He's definitely brought that further up, and that's always going to make the difference going into these events to start yourselves further up and finish up with the best result. So he's on in a good position there. Currently in that 9th spot though, so he's just been bumped down a position, and we'll probably get out for one or two more laps here to see whether he can claw his way up a little further.
Yeah, the Premier Racing team, obviously, with the number of drivers coming on this season, means they get a lot of data back. Rick Kuznetsov is now up top of the charts there when it comes to qualifying. Just got in front of Jordan Ross at the moment, which puts Briggsy back on the 2nd row. And if he wants to make a little bit of a catch-up in the championship, it would be good to see him off the front row tonight, whether it's 1st or 2nd. 7 there at the moment from the Premier Racing team, sort of leading that team out, Mr. Borgie. And struggling a little bit more this season where we normally see him in the top 4, but hovering around the top 10 and the back half of the top 10 at the moment. Tom Freer, like you say, in that 9th position. Brad Rattu's a nice one. The EXG Motorsports entry in 8th position now. Managed to squeeze himself there in the number 38. Another one with those special entries on. How good is that car looking tonight?
Yeah, nice looking car out there, and a bit of a change from what we've traditionally come to know with those guys. So nice to see them coming up with something a little bit newer for the series.
Well, speaking of new liveries, what about the Coda Sim Sports guys? They've had a bit of a colour change, I suppose. They've mixed the colour up there and some of the graphics there. It's sort of like we take a bit of an old take on the Penrite livery and then we put a bit of a new splash on it.
Yeah, nice change for those guys. They've gone from the white, black and orange to red, black and gold. Very classic Penrite colours, I guess you could say on that one, but nice looking change there, and sort of plenty of metallics as well on board.
We'll see how they go tonight, and we'll be very interested in there. Greg Sharp getting around in that one. The big 47, let's see if we can get the wings out and fly a bit tonight. Just checking the times at the top, but Jordan Ross looks like he had a purple sector time there maybe, and might have pulled out of that one.
That was exiting pit lane there, Cav.
So qualifying is running out at the moment. They're going to run out of time very, very shortly, so time to get out there and get their outlap done, and hopefully they can get around past the start-finish line there to complete, as it looks like they're going to put him at the end. He's going to stay on the front row there in position number 2 there, but we'll see which cars are on the flying lap. Hopefully they can get around and complete these. Will Kuznetsov improve on his time? No, he's going to pull in the pits. Why would you? You're number 1. Who's behind you? Going out ladder. That's ladder out there, just taking it out on the dirt a little bit there, using as much off track as he is on track.
He's out of there.
Borgie, is he going to complete this lap? I'm just having a look. No, it looks like he's with those brakes lit up. He is hard on the rear brakes at the moment. Little bit of a moment there. You can just see him trying to pull the car up there. There's a couple of long corners on here, guys. Now, you're going to be right on the edge of those tyres. I know it's really not going to affect us in the short race, but there are going to be a few corners where, like turn number 3, where you're really on that outside left, and just got to be very gentle on the accelerator there. It's very easy to get the back tyres to slide out from behind you, and then we're going to see all sorts of carnage.
Well, yeah, and not just that, you really got to keep an eye on that left front as well, because like you say, going through turn 1, 3, and then the back 2 corners of the lap, a lot of lateral load on those, and maybe we'll see some interesting stuff as far as the tyre strategy goes. Guys may elect just to change the working side and try and balance the car, because you're going to find your right front not really going to be used a huge amount around this circuit.
Yeah, well, tonight is 31 laps. Qualifying looks like it is about to finish there as we see Monday come through just to complete this qualifying session, maybe a couple more on the back end of that. But looks like Rick Kuznetsov is going to take it out here tonight. The Premier Racing team will start off position number 1 alongside Jordan Ross, and it's back to Adam Briggs and Geordie City. Todd Hay and Brian Borg, Ken Ladder in 7, Brad Rattu sitting in 8. Oh, there's a bit of excitement at the end there just to take the car going. Once you know you've got that car sliding, you may as well just finish it off with a burnout. Put on a bit of a show to get yourself up on the broadcast.
Yeah, look, give him an E for effort, and completion not the best.
Yeah, and that team's going to be working overtime to get that car turned around for the race.
I reckon they can do it. Somehow I think they might be able to get away with that one. So it is Barcelona tonight, Catalunya, 150-kilometre race. It is race number 7 here for season 11 of the AOSC. All thanks to Jinx Shifters, RaceKraft Simulations. 31 laps to get around, 13 corners. Like we say, minimum 2 pit stop strategy, although you're only going to need 1. We get about 29 laps on the tank. So could be some alternate strategies. Maybe some people are going to pit very early, get those run and done. Some people might wait till the end of the race and bring that home with some really fresh tyres, and we'll just see the go in as they go up on the jacks. One fast repair tonight, only being a sprint race as well, so you shouldn't trying to get yourself in any trouble early. Rick Kuznetsov there, starting off the front row alongside Jordan Ross. Adam Briggs on the second row with Geordie Cini alongside him fourth. Todd Hayne and Brian Borg will be in the third row. Ken Latter and Brad Rado on the fourth row. Tom Freer and Aaron Dodd will round out your top 10 on the fifth row. Adam Hayne all the way back to 11 this time with Thomas Freeman alongside on row 6. Then we get back to position number 13. Sean Lindsell and Sebastian Tixio will line up in the 7th row. Jacob Knight and Jamie Dyke on the 8th row. Andrew Dyson all the way back in 17th with Hayden Harrison alongside. So Dyson's got a bit of work to do tonight. Damien Johnson back there too in 19 with Sebastian Flock alongside. Michael Whiting and Christian Smart on the 11th row. Rob Bowden and Brett Loxton on the 12th row back in 24th position there. Then it's Blake Delaney and Matt Thompson in row 13. Nathan Moore, Justin Clayton alongside each other in row 14. Matthew Brunt and Greg Sharp in row 15. Nicholas Timors and Harry Dodds will line up alongside each other in row 16. Tyson McAvoy in 33 with David Colburn alongside in 34. Anthony Visma and Jaden Borg will be all the way back in the 18th row to start this race off. Chris Barnes and Simon Mazzomo will be back there in the 19th row. Matty Munday and Alex Newton back there in the 20th row. Dylan Thompson with Mark Howard alongside. Johnny Rowe and Aaron Gilbert alongside each other all the way back in the 22nd row. Jeffrey Eddy and is that in our team? That's Jeffrey Eddy off the back. Of course, our team 126 from the United States at the back there, and I reckon he'll be pretty keen to move his way up because we've seen him just sort of get through the races lately, but getting better and better as this season goes on. Not far off from our race start. You can see 31 laps to get through tonight. 2 stops minimum. Hopefully everyone's read the race regulations after they got bored in this season because a few missed out on some earlier races when they didn't read that in the sprint races. It's going to be short, sharp. Get this one run and done tonight. Probably going to be looking at about a 1:46 in race pace to get around this, so less than 2 minutes per lap. It'll be about an hour-long race. Fast repairs only 1, so don't get yourself caught in too many dramas. The lights are up. Getting ready, the revs are come up. Here we go, race number 7 here of AOSC11, and we are underway. Looks like a pretty clean start. Over there over Damien Johnson. They're really blocking him. Make sure he can look for any gap he can. Dice will need to make some moves here. Let's have a look at this turn number 1. Gordon Ross dive under Kuznetsov, and I reckon Briggsy's going to try and follow him through here, but you've got to turn. Kuznetsov up on the curb there. They side by side with Briggsy. Looks like we're all getting through 2 and 3 wide in some sections, but they're making racing room. This is a good start. We haven't seen the Hamilton heavily Verstappen corner that I was preaching about. It did not happen there. Let's have a look at this one. Kuznetsov now back into third. We're still too wide for most of them in the middle pack as they come down. Lindsay, that looks like on the outside they're holding. Was that Ladder? Ladder's on the outside. You can see in the DPR car. Jordan Ross still holding them out at the front now, the 143.
Contact.
Right, look at the contact break.
Dyson involved.
Yeah, Michael Whiting involved in that as well.
Tom Freer just made actually a nice move on Brad Ratu to get that move back down into 9th position. So he probably didn't get the start he wanted. We know he's really just got himself back into his starting position. So he lost a couple of starts. So Brad Ratu down 2 positions. Aaron Dodds moved up a couple. He's in 8th position at the moment. Brian Borg's moved up a couple as well. It's a good start from him up into 4th position as well. So he's had a great start just hanging off the back of this top 3.
Yeah, it was a really good getaway from everyone in that opening few corners up until we saw the guys in the middle part of the lap, basically. And you say 2 and 3 wide from a lot of the guys working very, very nicely together to get through. Great jump from Jordan Ross early on. I mean, Rick did nothing wrong to get that car away, just he didn't quite get the initial bite that he needed to get underway, but settles himself now in that 3rd position, and Brian Borg right in behind him now in 4th.
Here we go, check out a little bit of a replay of what happened before as they come around the big turn. Number 4, and they get down here. Oh, the Fishy Motorsports, that guy.
So looking at that one, Whiting just runs it wide, picks up the dirt, ricochets back into Dyson and then into Hayne, and we saw another car involved in that as well. I didn't check who that was. I think it might have been Freeman as well. So a little bit tardy on the guys just coming through that first section there.
So check out something that happened from the race start here, as it looks like we're just going to see Kuznetsov here was obviously number 1 on the grid. Having a look at the race start there, Jordan Ross does really well here. You'll see him come up alongside on the right-hand side, and the other thing is he doesn't just have the inside run here. The member is you go right, then you go left, so you've got to get a fair bit of car length in there. You can't just get the nose in there and manage to get through this first corner. Kuznetsov just stick on the outside. Rosso pulls the whole car forward in that last moment there and really gets back across and holds him out. And you see Briggs get involved in this one, which gets him up into second position. So it's those first couple of corners. Remembering, you're on cold tyres, the brakes are cold. It's just a little bit sketchy going around those corners that you don't want to push it too much at this point. And I think everyone was fairly patient through that area.
Yeah, all in all, from the guys up front, it was a relatively controlled start, as you say. Trying to get the tyre pressures coming up, brakes very, very cold at that opening exchange. You really can't afford to run it too hard there. And I think for Rick, the smart move just drops in, and he'll set himself up now for a good run. As we have a look at Ton Hay, he's got Geordie Cini just ahead there in that Synergy Sim Racing car. Ken Latta, who we saw having a few little moments there in qualifying just a session ago, now slots himself up into 7th position as well. And looks like, Nori, we've also had quite a few guys come down the lane following that first little exchanges.
Yeah, you've got a Jamie Dyke, you've also got, I think, Dyson, Delaney and Freeman.
Well, there you go. Like someone taking the early strategy. And if you got caught up in that little bit of a altercation early, maybe that's a change in strategy there, just to go, you know what, if I get an altercation on the first couple of laps, we're going to go the short stop at the start, which pretty well expected. We did talk about it a bit earlier, but you can go Damien Johnson there. Looks like he is just back in 12th position behind Brad Ratu. So working through it. And here we go. One of the Hayne brothers in 6th position at the moment. The Taipan Esports entry has just dropped 1 position from the start. Started out of 5th position. It was a great qualifying start for him. So Geordie Cini's back 1 position too. It's Brian Borg. He's had the nice little run there. Come out of 6th position, now in 4th position. And just having a look up there, looks like the top 4 are just slightly breaking away from the rest of the field at the moment. So the top 4 being Jordan Ross in the lead, Adam Briggs in 2nd, Rick Kuznetsov 3rd, and Brian Borg just opening up a small gap. And then they're really condensed from position 5 all the way back to about position 13. So that starts with Geordie Cini, and it's a bit of a train all the way back to Sean Lindsell in 13. So not spreading out too far in the opening laps of this race, which is good. We're going to see some fantastic racing as the race progresses.
Yeah, once the guys get into their rhythm and those little positions open up, we saw a move there from 13 just sticking down the inside. The pace will really start to pick up now at the moment. They're just sort of tripping over each other a little bit as Flock and Hayne just have a little bit of an exchange. And looks like Hayne's actually just going to get ahead of the contact there on the mid-corner entry.
Yeah, that was big contact.
Yeah, like someone of them before as well. Matt Thompson now, the privateer, just on the outside. So Flock losing a heap of positions there. He's managed to get back in front of Thompson. Maybe a move here. Thompson, you think, would have got a better drive down there. And Flock just looking a little bit defensive. Thompson shows the nose, and someone sitting at the back of this one who needs to be careful is the 747 of Greg Sharp. Last thing we want to do. Oh no, some contact here with Flock, and who is he's just hit
Flock on McAvoy.
Performance racing car. Fair bit of damage to start that one too. So that's going to hopefully he hasn't been in the pits already. He's going to need a fast repair on that one. So I reckon we're going to see him on this lap is going to be my guess for McAvoy.
We would expect that was a pretty hard hit into the wall there, but the contact between the teammates, not what you want to be doing at this stage of the race.
Yeah, a little bit early to be fighting it out at the moment, isn't it? I know it is a sprint race. We're only on lap number 4, so only 3.5 laps completed for this one as they go around the back section, turn number 9, and head down to the left-hander into 10. You know, a reasonably sharp. I'm not going to say a tight, but a sharp, sort of longer corner. It's not like we go 90 degrees here. We almost go the full 180. It's just shy of that as they go around. A lot of pressure on that front right that we. As well through this section, then onto the right-hander through 11 as well, and gets a little bit faster here, go through 12, and then it's pretty much flat out if you're not going to go into the pits through the final turn number 13 onto the main straight. Just hold on to it there as you feather it out as wide as you can go without getting the wheels on the gravel and drive it onto the main straight and see if you can get it all the way up in 6th gear as you get down the far end.
Yeah, really good. I was going to say, a good view of those cars coming through there. I'm really surprised too, just how much that top 3 have been able to extend the lead now over everyone else behind.
Move there from Tix here. Did I just see him go 2 positions there from 10th up to 8th? He just drove around.
Yeah, definitely got the car pace on board that one at the moment. Still not come in for a stop, but up 6 spots from where he started. So looking very handy at the moment.
Well, looks like the new paint scheme for the Coda Simsport guys getting a bit of touch up. Jaden Borg here, he's got a little bit of a delivery missing off the side, and it's like a bit more contact there from the Fishy Motorsports guys as well. Probably not what he wanted from Dave Coleman. That time gets spun around and puts him down where he doesn't want to be for poor old Jaden Borg.
Yeah, that's a really tricky spot to be into. Very tight compression there, 180-degree almost rotation there as you come down that little back chute. So tricky spot to be, and for the guys that were able to avoid it, good job from them as well.
There we go, Damien Johnson now fighting out in the middle here in 11th position, and he wasn't where he wanted to be on the start there for Damien Johnson in the 33. He's made 8 positions tonight, so he's starting to make a little bit of a move there, but you know, probably going to get a little bit desperate at some point here with only 31 laps. So already 4 laps completed on the 5th lap at the moment. Jacob Knight behind him, Sean Lindsell, sorry, right behind him, and Jacob Knight. But to get through though, he's got to get past Ken Latta, who's been in a little bit of a battle with Brad Rattu for a while, which I suspect is why Sebastian Tixia just got that drive as they came into the main straight last time. Those two battling it out, and Tixia just used that as an advantage to slingshot around the outside. A bit of shake and bake moment there as he got right on the rear end. Damien Johnson there, you can see he's using everything, just runs over that curbing too, picks up the wheels and puts them in the air, slides it onto the main straight. Doesn't look like he's close enough though to make a move at this point unless he's really going to get hard on the brake. Gordon Ross needs to watch out. Briggsy on the outside, you know, it's the big right hand. If he can stay there, they go left, and Jordan just shuts the gap there, and Kuznetsov just waiting. It's just a matter of time, isn't it, for Kuznetsov? He can let these two fight it out. He may just be a nice easy move there. So it looks like Briggsy there now has to be a little bit defensive because Kuznetsov goes around the outside, has the better driving line, and Briggsy doesn't want to get involved too much in that fight. You don't want to be rubbing panels at this point of the race. There is still an opportunity now to get behind, and Jordan Ross a bit of a reprieve there as it opens up a slight gap there, almost out to 1 second. Kuznetsov just had a little bit of a slide in that last corner. As you can see, Briggs takes full advantage to get back up into the rear wing and just compose himself a little bit, see what he can do to bring home the simrigs.com Mustang.
Yeah, and for Briggs there, that all started on that run into turn 1 there, going around the outside, not quite close enough. And as we saw Freya slam the door, he had to then be very, very defensive on Kuznetsov, who's just getting the back end just out a little bit. This could be an opportunity now for Briggs to send one back down the inside, but just going to hold that station at the moment. Just trying to have a look down the field as well, because we saw Brian Borg come in for his stop a few laps ago, and I mean, he was sitting in 4th position. So once that cycled through, down in 26th position, and he's got a lot of cars around him at the moment as well. So that earlier pit stop not seemingly to work out, and much to what you suggested earlier, Norrie.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw that pit stop and I thought, what's he playing at here? And now I'm seeing him in traffic and I'm asking, really, what is he playing at here?
Maybe a lost opportunity there, thought he was going to come out somewhere else. Maybe hoping, we don't know, maybe he's got a little bit of damage there from behind. We'll have to watch that one. Jordan Ross, though, is big name. Yeah. He's gone early, guys.
Yeah, we've got Hayden Harrison, Damien Johnston, Tom Frere, and Jordan Ross all pitting now.
Yeah, and I think that one for Jordan there, he's going to have to be pushing if he wants to come out in front of Brian Borg there. So keep an eye on that, because Borg's now back on the front straight, waiting to see where Jordan is going to be. He's down and away, and he should just come out in front, down in 20th position. So a better spot for him. He's got a net gain of just on 0.7 of a second now over Brian Borg as well. So that played out nicely for him.
He's pulled out in front. Remembering Borg has got some temperature tyres. His brakes are still nice and warm. So Ross is going to have to be a little bit careful here, because we know Borgie, if he's on the warm tyres, is going to be pretty pacey. Mind you, he's probably only going to have about half a lap to take advantage of that one, because once we see those tyre temperatures come back up, Jordan Ross has been very fast when it comes to qualifying, and I'm sure once he's happy again on those tyres, he's going to be a little bit quicker than Brian Borg at the moment. Brad Rattu now is here in 7th position, and you know, a few of the numbers you see him a bit further up the order than what you saw him before. If you just joined us on the broadcast, we'll start to see some of our top markers go in there. Our top 4 have already started to pit, take those early pits, maybe get one out of the way very early. They're not going to split them up. They're not going thirds in this race, Norrie. Like you said, they're going to put probably them very close together when it comes into the pit stops there. And surprisingly enough, Jordan Ross has come back out. He's got a little bit of room at the moment, but nothing. Still a little bit of traffic around him. While Briggsy has managed to get back out in front past Kuznetsov. and just pushing and pushing, and he is not going to pit this lap either. They're going to keep going.
Now, speaking of that, Cav, the watch out here is when Adam Briggs and Rick Kuznetsov take their pit stop. Because if they take their pit stop and it's too soon, they won't have enough gap between Ryan Borg and Jordan Ross.
Yeah, and it's all a little bit of a risk too. Like, I know you guys are saying we're probably going to go green to a checker on this one without a safety car. That's the hope, and I said maybe we'll see one. If you see a safety car at this point, you're really going to have to rush in those pits, aren't you? And it could hold up Jordan Ross. Could be beneficial to him, or if they get stuck, you know, to have to do another lap, it might be beneficial to Jordan Ross. So you have to wait and see how that one plays out. Jamie Dykes back out there in the 80. Now, we saw this a little bit sideways earlier, but he manages to get the Fishy Motorsport down the inside this time and back into position 19. So he's lost a couple of positions from the start, but we have seen him involved in some altercations there, just going past. Sorry. So we'll wait to see what Jamie Dyke. He did come on a very early pit after, getting rid of a bit of his livery early. He's come in and maybe just grabbed a fast spare there because that car is looking pretty clean at the moment.
Yeah, and he got a little bit of air to move in as well. So watch for him to work his way through. Interestingly, the pit stop times have been pretty up and down for everyone that's come in so far. On average, we're seeing between 30 to 37 seconds for the guys that have come through. The quickest of all our pit stoppers so far that's taken a relatively full service was Jamie Dyke, 29 seconds down the lane. It was a quick 3.5 second stop for him. Compare that to Jordan Ross, 36 seconds, 36 seconds down there, 10 seconds stationary. So it was a little bit different there, a little more fuel probably going on board the Jordan Ross synergy gantry there.
No, when it comes to pit stop strategy, does that open it up? So Jordan Ross definitely would have taken some fuel there. That means he's got enough fuel to get home. His next pit stop is just a technicality, get up on the jacks, get down as fast as possible. Is that a bit of a strategy now so later on you can have a very short pit stop?
I should imagine so. If Jordan Ross took some fuel, then like you say, Cav, he's definitely got to only stop in the pits to get some tyres and that's it, freshen up. But it'll be a low fuel load, fresh tyre run for Jordan Ross to come home. We'll have to see how Briggs and Kuznetsov turn their pit stops.
Definitely at the moment, if we look on the track map, you can see there Briggs and Kuznetsov in clean air. You think it would be a bit of an advantage at the moment where we see Jordan Ross just having to battle it out through some other drivers here, which will be slowing him down a little bit. It looks like he's doing a nice job though, the JK Science Synergy Sim Racing entry. Getting another and going back into P10 at the moment, but these little moments where he has to do this overtaking just slows him down a little bit compared to Adam Briggs and Rick Kuznetsov, who at the moment, last lap, we're seeing a 1:45.9 from Briggs in a 1:46.2 from Kuznetsov. They're right up there. And you compare that to Jordan Ross. I would have thought Ross might have been slowed down, but last lap was a 1:45.4. So very quick. We'll wait to see where he comes around to this lap and see what the time is compared to what he was doing before with the traffic.
Well, he's managing the traffic exceptionally well. As you say, he was cutting through it like a hot knife through butter. Borg, on the other hand, really struggling to work his way through. He's behind Coleman and Vasmer as well, so that's slowing him up, and that's going to help the guys a little further up if they make a bit of a middle of their pit stop. They've got that space to work their way through.
Briggs in, Kuznetsov stays out.
Oh, so Briggs in the pits. That's a big one there. He's decided to come in now. So be interested to see how he comes out compared to Jordan Ross. And he's going to come out in the thick of things if these guys don't come into pit. So Sean Lindsell looks like he's out there. We're going to have a few out there actually at the moment. So the Haynes out there, Lindsell, Thompson have gone past. So our front runners there. And we're just going to see how far they go back. Briggs waiting to come out. Just having a look up our time now. Does Ross get out in front of him as they come down the straight? So Briggs in the background. So it has been a good move there from Jordan Ross, hasn't it? And Briggs will go back into 10. So a couple of cars too between Jordan Ross and Briggs. He could just hold them apart there. We won't see this battle, really reignite now until everyone has gone through the cycle of pitting. Who was that in the back? Is that
Christian Smart?
Oh, Christian Smart.
He got nerfed.
That is probably not what he wants down there, and really pushed off in the runoff area. It's a tight section there on the brakes, and very easy to lock up there coming to that corner and hit it too fast. But has managed to take off the runoff there, and that's unfortunate there for him. Bit of a replay there, and was that Rasu?
That was Rasu in there. That was a tough one because it was 4 guys down into turn 1 as well. That's not how you want to be stacked up on your run through there. He was fortunate too, just on that rejoin to get away with that as well.
Now we see a better replay there. So he comes and let's Radu know he's there. We've got Tixia coming out of the pit as well, so he can't turn in there. That stops him from turning in early as well. Yeah,
Up in the lane. Greg Kuznetsov in the lane.
Oh, Kuznetsov is
with
now...
Hayne. Todd Hayne in the lane.
They're coming in there. They're starting to maybe come in on the back of looking at the leader, so starting to alternate their strategy to suit what is going on around them at the moment. They're starting to react to what the leaders have done. Briggsy now pushing through and is behind Jordan Ross, so you can just see him. He's made it through the little pack there. Jordan Ross will go through. You think he's going to get back in the lead of this race coming through this lap with 11 laps or 10 laps now completed on lap 11. And there we go, Kuznetsov coming out. Where do we see? Is he going to get in front of this little pack there, which you can see in front of Nicholas Timors and David Coleman? Just slots it in there too. That was a nice move there. Briggsy just gets through.
Slide for Kuznetsov.
Hey, a bit of opposite lock going on there, isn't he, for the RaceKraft car as they pull around. And good to see the Synergy Geordie Cine and the Synergy Sim Racing car is now sort of involved in this one as well, although they have not had their pit stop. So we'll wait to see where they rejoin. So Jordan Ross, 1 pit stop done leading the race. Adam Briggs has just completed a pit stop 1 lap ago. Kuznetsov has literally come out of the pits on this lap. He has 1 pit stop done, and they are our top 3. That's how it started after turn number 1. Kuznetsov started off the front row, got overtaken by Ross and Briggs going through the first couple of corners, and that's how it's been ever since in this race. Oh no, maybe there's a little bit of contact there from Adam Hayne as we saw them just across the Ken ladder.
Yeah, Ken Ladder there, he's slowed down right away to try and redress that situation, but yeah, that's a tricky spot. We've seen already a few guys come together just as they sweep across the nose there. Borg now trying to come back through. That early stop has not paid dividends for him at all. He is well down on where he was 4th when he came in, down still in, well, now 5th position. He's just managed to get past his teammate there, a little bit of team orders as they work the switcheroo, and now gets himself up to 5th, but that early stop was a big hindrance to him there and has definitely hurt his chance tonight.
Yeah, it did look a little bit too easy, didn't it, as he went past the teammate there, Timors. But remembering, Timors hasn't pitted either, so he's not in this battle for 5th position, really. Relatively, you would think that once he comes in for that pit stop, he's going to be pushed down the pack quite a bit. Those guys got their own little battle going on, though. Timors, Coleman, and then you see Hayne on the back of that one, but he has completed his pit stops, has a bit of a look with the nose. It looks like he's not going to pull this one up under brakes. Doesn't want to get involved with these 2 in front who are out there doing laps. Oh, he's almost made contact on the back of Coleman there. He's definitely got a bit more pace than the guys in front. So Todd Hayne and the Type N East there be looking at the first opportunity he can to get both these cars, I would say, in 1 hit under brakes. He might have to do this one by one. Coleman there down the inside. He might get this move done as he does nicely. Coleman gives him a little bit of racing room there. It's just long right-hander at the moment, though, as they go around.
Yeah, it's a fantastic run there. He's going to be on the outside, though, trying to go around. Timor's not quite going to get it, but will the switch work? Gets underneath him. Should be able to make this work as they head up to the next corner.
Yeah, the extra left-hander here will really help him as they go through, but he's not going to give up, though, is he, at the moment, Timors? There you go. Just gives him a little bit more room than he probably would if he was in that fight for that position, really. Position number 6 there, Todd Hayne, just gets that done in the Type N Esports entry, and we'll see him now try and chase Borgie down in front of him as we go back to Sebastian Tixia, who was leading the race for a little bit there, and obviously with the pit stop strategies playing out, now back in position at number 13, but he was he come out of position 14, so he's only gained 1 spot at the moment, has done his pit stop, you think, though he might go through a couple of cars there once they come into pit of Coleman, obviously, and Timors, who are up in 7th and 8th, so we'll just look at get the top 3, they broke play again. Jordan Ross, Adam Briggs and Rick Kuznetsov now. The top 3 are away in their own little race at the moment. And then we go back to Geordie Cine in 4th and Brian Borg in 5th, who aren't too far apart. Not far behind Borg is Hayne, though, so maybe we'll see that little battle start to heat up there for position number 4 as the race progresses, of course. 12 laps completed. We are on lap number 13 at the moment.
We're just having a look there at Andrew Dyson. He's the first of our runners tonight that's already completed the 2 pit stops as well. So he's in a pretty good position there, as we've got a couple more. No, it looks like they're coming through the lane as well.
Yeah, I had Timores and Delaney. I'm pretty sure that what car was.
Interesting there from Dyson because he had a shocking qualifier, didn't he, Andrew Dyson? It was nowhere near where we normally see him there in the Phoenix Smokers. He's had 3 weeks off, mate. Too much rest.
Maybe too much smoke meat. There's no such thing though.
Bit of isolation and a smoker, and anything could happen. Put on a few pounds, and you know, get a little bit more interested in the Phoenix Smoker, and all of a sudden, not enough time in sim racing to get yourself set up. But hasn't qualified as well as he wants. So the different strategy that we spoke about earlier, some guys might do that double pit stop really early because, you know, good advantage for safety car comes out now. You can make a whole heap of positions there. So might be a good one there for Dyson. We'll see where he ends up tonight and how far he can push that car up the order. At the moment, though, off the back of Damien Johnson's car from Synergy Sim Racing, and he's sitting there in 9th position, just off the back of him, Sebastian Tixia, and behind them you can see Sean Lindsell as well in the alcohol to DPR entry, lined up with Michael Whiting behind him, Brad Radu and Jacob Knight, all the way back to Hayden Harrison in 15th position. So just holding off the back. Damien Johnson, they normally pretty quick when it comes to racing. Another one he didn't qualify. Mind you, last week he didn't qualify really well either and had to do a fair bit of work in the race. Tonight up 10 positions though to get back to position number 9. So he started out at 19th on the grid. That's a good one so far when you consider we've only done about 13 laps completed in this race.
Well, yeah, I was just going to make note of that. You took the words right out of my mouth. He didn't get the qualifying results that he would have liked. And I mean, from what we've seen at the end of last season and through the start of this one, he's been right on form in that Synergy car, getting good results in qualifying, and just didn't seem to hook it up tonight here. But the race pace definitely very, very good as he works his way through and holds off Tixia and Linsell there. It's a little bit of too wide action for the guys working their way up through turn 3. Tixia, though, with a nice turn of speed, he's going to be up here for a chance soon.
Another one who likes to play the strategy, Tom Freer. Now, he's quite a bit down the pack at the moment. I got him down in 28th, is it? I think he's just taken over 28th position there for Tom Freer now. But another one from the Sim Racing who have gone for the pit stop strategy really early, get them run and done. So he has done both pit stops as well. And just having a look at who else may have been 2 pit stops in that one. They're going to be interesting to watch in the back half of this race and see exactly how much advantage maybe they're going to get one out of that one. Try and stay out.
Checking Linsell there. He's going to be on a charge here, but going to be on the outside. This isn't going to work too well for him there, as he's still got Tixia up the inside. Tixia just slot that car across the nose. And nice bit of defensive driving there as they work their way through the second to last corner here on the circuit. And these guys are pretty well inseparable now for the last, 4 or 5 laps that we've been watching them.
Yeah, it's a nice little battle and entertaining to watch too. Damien Johnson still has a little bit of control out in front. No one's really challenging him. Even Tixia, like, it looks like he closed the gap down there, but he's definitely not up to run down the straight, I don't think, to challenge him for that position number 9. So Tixia in 10 just in front of Lindsell at the moment there. And they're going to have to watch out though if they want to battle this on, because we know when you start battling with someone, you just lose a little bit of race pace. And then you got Whiting and Radu just off the back of that one, and then Jacob Knight, who can hard going around there for Geordie Cini in the 44, and Briggsy manages to get a position there. So I don't know what's happened here. Why are we seeing Kuznetsov out in front? So maybe something's happened with Jordan Ross and Adam Briggs, because they've dropped back a bit. Briggsy has gone all the way back past Geordie Cini and now working his way back in 3rd position. But Kuznetsov now leading this race out in front, and Jordan Ross just a little bit in front of Briggsy there. So maybe those guys have had a little bit of contact there or it out.
I did intercept a race comms between Adam Briggs and Race Control and Jordan Ross and Race Control. So I do feel like there was a trip up between the two of them, which has let Rick Kuznetsov move on through, and Geordie Cini was up there between them as well. But I couldn't quite decode the message.
Well, there we go. A bit of contact we would assume from those 2 cars. So there we go. Ross and Briggs there making contact, and gives Kuznetsov a nice advantage there. Now, will he have the pace to hold him out? He has managed to stay with him. Now he's got some clean air, though. He needs to keep that race line and dominate. You can't sit behind the cars. There's no interference with the no drafting, no interference with the wind or the aero. Just got to get in there, get those laps done, bit of muscle memory, and just get them round. But he is now probably in control a little bit of what his pit stop strategy wants to be, and the other 2 may react to that. If they've had an altercation, we might even see Jordan Ross, Adam Briggs come a little bit early maybe and use that. Sean Lindsay now look at nice run here on the inside of Tixia, and he gets the nose in. He's going to pull it up nicely. They don't make contact there, but he's, of course, you go back straight back in the left hand there, and Tixia's not going to get that position up straight away. But it looks like he's going to get a nice run, Lindsay there. Enough speed there front as they go around the right-hander. As they come out of that one, they hold onto it. Tixia just using every little bit of road there in the hope that maybe he can do the crisscross. Radu in the background there takes a dive. Can he pull it up? He's up under the back quarter there. Managed to get the nose just in front, and he'll go past Michael Whiting and grab that position there. Whiting, though, stays in the inside here. Look how defensive Radu has to be. Lock up under brakes here. They make a little bit of contact, maybe.
No, through it, but Whiting with an issue.
Yeah, he goes off in the grass, and Jacob Knight,
safety car, boys.
Performance Racing will take advantage of that.
Well, they will do. And now it's going to be open slather on the pit stop for everyone coming through, just as Norrie was saying. Safety car has been deployed, so it's going to be a frantic bit of action now for the guys on the lane.
Well, you boys are out of the sports bet this week, mate. You both said 0, and I put down 1, so I'm in contention here to take home the big winnings.
I said 1, if at all.
What are the odds? Like when you got like 8
off in the lane.
If we've got 8 to 1 odds on $0, how much is that?
You're still not getting paid. It's Ross, Briggs, Cine, all joining Kuznetsov, Hayne in the lane.
And Borg going long.
With the safety car, wouldn't you, that everyone would go in?
Yep. Well, almost everyone.
What do you
Literally
reckon?
everyone.
Do you reckon maybe, 1, he hasn't seen the safety car, or 2, do you think he's just going, mate, I'm going to get some lead lap?
The safety car is driving out of the lane now.
Really?
It's picked up Kuznetsov as the leader.
Ah, so Borgie's not going to get slowed down by this.
No, Borgie's going to get a free
massive
kick.
gain.
Because he's effectively lapped the field.
Yeah, so this is a massive advantage now for Brian Borg. Massive, massive advantage, because Netsov, I'm sure those guys, if they understand, or their teammates are obviously spotting for them, there'll be some race control radio chatter, I reckon. Anyway, Brian Borg, they take advantage of it. You got to take
And they're waving the field around the safety car.
Yeah,
They've caught on.
the race controls picked
That was
up to
quick.
it. That was very, very fast.
Well, that is quite good, though, there to see that happen. So the Jinx Shifters Acura safety car will pull over to the side, and we'll wave around there. So obviously, because they didn't pick up Brian Borg, who was currently leading that race as the safety car was deployed. So that'll try and bring back in.
Well, it is going to work out well that everyone is going to be back on pace. However, that time difference that they sat there behind the safety car from the deployment, getting out of pit lane up through turn 3, is going to still give Borg a massive advantage here, and he's going to come out well clear of this. 34 seconds, when we consider that you only need 35 to get through the lane, he's going to come out in very good position.
Borg boxing now.
And interestingly enough, if he knows what's going on there, and I'm sure he's checking his relative, he's now got an opportunity. He doesn't have to run on the smell of an oily rag too to get home. He can probably put that extra second or 2 of fuel in, just make sure that he is bringing this car home. Doesn't have to worry about anything when it comes to pitting again, and I don't expect he's going to need much.
Well, let's keep an eye on this. So the guys are working their way through second to last corner now, and Kuznetsov with still a fair bit of speed, but it is the teammates here. So Borg and Kuznetsov up the front, Borg down and away, and he's still going to come out with a hefty lead. You just caught a glimpse of that car coming back onto race circuit proper. So yeah, that's a huge advantage
Jordan
for him
Ross
when this
and
one
Adam
goes.
Briggs have been dudded massively in this.
Yeah, and I assume Borgie would have had fresh tyres on too, so he's probably not going to bring them up to temperature as he goes around and catches up with the pace car. But because Netsov and Ross well, obviously a fair bit, and Briggsy there, it's probably good to bring Ross and Briggsy back together after that incident a bit earlier. So we're not going to see that little gap between those two either. So it's going to be an exciting finish to this race. We're just over halfway, of course. Well, 17 laps completed, 31. We're on lap number 18 now, but we are going to be under safety car conditions as we see Brian Borg come around in the field. So won't be too long and he'll catch up to our Acuda Jinx Shifters safety car. I think the last couple of cars just going by our safety car, and only a couple of corners behind now for Brian Borg. He won't need to push it anymore. They'll have to stay in formation from here. You will not be allowed to overtake now. And once we see Brian Borg behind the safety car, It is a get them all formed up, and hopefully we'll get this race underway very, very shortly. Because the last thing the guys behind Brian Borg, who will be absolutely fuming about, is to cut the laps down. They want to get this race underway so they've got time to get past him. Because unfortunately for Borg, he hasn't had that pace that we have seen from the top three.
Well, no, he's been a little bit slower there, but he's very good at defending. So that's going to make it very tricky for these guys. And I mean, we got a great bit of insight from Andrew Dyson last time out at Matagi about how Premier are driving these cars and the defensive sort of role that they're playing with them. So it's going to be interesting to see what the guys want to do. For Borg, the advantage for him is he's got a teammate in now right behind that can play rear gunner for him. So that's going to work nicely. But for Ross, Briggs, we do know they've got a little bit more pace on board that car. So will there maybe be a switch of position between Kuznetsov and Borg and then Borg play that rear gunner role to help Kuznetsov get a win?
Yeah, interesting to see what the team's going to do. I mean, or does Borgie do the team thing there and help Kuznetsov out? Like, because Kuznetsov has been fast. He's probably looking... Well, we haven't seen a podium from Kuznetsov, have we, so far in the series? So, could be...
His pace has come on strong since the break.
Yeah,
well, I would sort of say even before the break, he was very quick in these cars, just had those few little issues along the way that sort of prevented a fantastic result. But I mean, he has picked up a 4th and a 5th prior to that.
Yeah, he has. I'm actually looking up the results now. He has picked those up too, and I think he's picked up a 6th place as well, 7th place as well. So he's been this 6th, 7th. Yeah, so he definitely someone to watch out for, because he hasn't had an entire race come together. We've seen him have some moments in qualifying. We've seen him have some moments in races, but was great qualifying tonight. Obviously didn't get the start he wanted, but now an opportunity in racing, although it's come from a Jordan Ross and an Adam Briggs incident there, put him in contention here. So, you know, it'd be a bit of a shame for Borgie to hold Kuznetsov back if he's definitely got that raw pace. But Borgie then can put those elbows out, and if we're going to let, you know, if Ross and Briggs get caught in that fight, there's an opportunity there for Borgie just to hold him back a bit there and give Kuznetsov the best opportunity he's got of coming home with his first podium in AOSC. So we're just waiting to see on the safety car. The light's out, Norrie.
Hasn't accelerated away from the field yet.
Remembering obviously, if you've read our driver's brief there, the restart is going to come from about turn 12 onwards. Once you're at the exit of turn 12, they can go anywhere from there, from the exit of turn 12, which is the second last corner on that long sweeping right-hander. So there's going to be no issue with accelerating from there and just getting as much drive onto the main straight. So not quite sure what the setup's going to be there. I would suspect Borgie probably not having the pace of the other guys. He may hold it right up, but in a straight line, we're probably going to... Yeah, we've still got a couple of cars here, I think, just to catch up to the final moments of this train. So we're probably going to see one more lap from the safety car, which is a bit unfortunate. So that means we'll have 19 laps completed in this race, coming around to complete our 20th lap at the moment. Still 25 degrees out there, Dan, so conditions reasonable there. 42 degrees, though, on track.
Yeah, the temperature in that, not too bad. The track conditions are going to be the tricky one. As I say, 42 degrees, still relatively hot. I mean, it is cooling off marginally. We don't expect a lot of cool down here in Spain, as we hear the safety car is going to be in this time by. So it will get better as the guys press on. The tricky part now is these tyres are almost going to be stone cold. So trying to get the heat back into them, get away quickly, and get the brakes up to temperature as well is going to be very, very tricky to see what they do.
Thankfully, the track surface tonight is like boiling an egg on a hot plate. It is extremely hot, so it'll be quite easy to get the cars back up to temp. But these drivers will be sure working for it.
It's gonna be interesting to see how we saw at the start of the race. Everyone made racing room through turns 1 and 2, and they let everyone get through. We didn't really see an incident down till about turn 7 and 8, where they really pushed their luck there, I suppose, on cold tyres, cold brakes. Now, are we going to see the same on this restart? We've got less laps to worry about. So most people have taken both their pit stops. So this is run and done. We're coming down to a nice little 11-lap sprint race to finish things off. Now, that means we could see them get down to qualifying times here, maybe in the 144s, maybe a low 145 compared to where we've sort of seen them in the high 145s before. So we have seen a couple of 144s early on in the race. So, you know, there's going to be some qualifying times to finish out this race. They're all going to be pushing hard. And I think if you've got someone like Brian Borg in front of you, you don't wait, because the moment you show your cards to Brian, he's going to put the elbows out, and he's going to make it twice as hard to get past him.
And Brian's such a keen defender. He's always been good at defending moves that happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think the restart will tell us between him and Kuznetsov whether there's going to be any team orders there. That's really going to be a telltale sign on the restart of this one. Jordan Ross, look at him all over the back of Kuznetsov here. They are waiting for the safety car to move away. The Jinx Shifters acute safety car starts to drive away, does he now? Just waiting as they turn back past turn number 9. Hopefully they'll lead away on this one, though I have seen a car in the background that is quite a bit off the pace at the moment.
They did call the safety car in this lap, so it should be moving off soon.
So Jeffrey Eddy,
I think that car was, Jeffrey Eddy, as you're saying, no, very far behind.
Yeah, the good old team 126 over in America. Big shout out to those guys. Hopefully they're watching. They're obviously sharing our stream over there in the USA. Yeah, fantastic. It would be Friday morning over there or something like that, would it? In the USA, we're about 10 hours in front or something. So hopefully they're having a good time over there. And one day we'll be able to get over there, and maybe we should go over as a trio, you guys, and we should actually commentate from Team 126. What do you reckon?
Is that because you won the bet tonight about the safety car and you're paying? Thanks. Okay.
Well, you know, odds were 100 to 1. 100 to 1 on $0. A lot of money, isn't it?
Just bring the smoker.
Oh, we're going to go. Here we go, restart, and Borgie, like I suspect. Well, I didn't suspect. I thought maybe he'd wait there. He's taken away, hasn't he, on the last couple of corners? The moment he could, coming out of turn number 12, he has gone, and Kuznetsov with a little bit of a gap. And we have a look there. I reckon Geordie Sinny's all over the back of Adam Briggs, and in contention here maybe to have a little bit of a dive under brakes there. Briggsy doesn't have to get too defensive. Sinny's just going to hold the line here, and we are going to go single file in this first corner. No one really pulling out, as I say that in the background. Is that Tixia there on the outside of Damian Johnson? So, and behind them, I'm just having a look, that's Jacob Knight, the One Performance Racing, who's just been sitting at the back of them, watching the battles go on in front of him and picking them off one by one. We spoke a little bit about earlier where Jamie Dyke would come out and all this, and not too bad. They're taking those early pit stops. He's ended up in 8th position, guys. So, despite early on the race being involved in some incidents, has managed to claw back by having those early pit stops.
Well, and there's just seen a car in the wall there as well. Didn't see who that was, but big hard hit there, and the 033 with a lot of damage on board the front end of that as well.
I reckon that's Hayden Harrison in the background was the one that was actually spun off in the wall. Contact there too. See a little bit of a wiggle there from the 134 car.
Oh, another one.
Tixia gone.
That's not good, because he's been going all right in this race, and he's another one who's shown some moments of brilliance, hasn't he, throughout AOSC11 there. We've seen some qualifying, we've seen some really fast laps in race pace, hasn't managed to put it together, and here's another race. And Daiso there, the number 41, back in 21st position, so the early pit stops necessarily haven't done the trick for him either.
No, and that's a tough one for him, but he is working his way through nicely down the back of the field. So of those 3 cars we saw having big issues out there on the restart, Johnson and Tixia, we saw those guys battling off the restart down into turn 1 there. And as you said, we saw Jacob Knight in the back of there. And I wonder if there was contact following whatever happened with Johnson between Tixia and Knight, which is what's seen him go around.
Let's check out a little bit of a replay here and see if we can pick it up. Well, he's off in the background. So Tixia's already at that point there, unfortunately.
Yeah, as we look at Harrison, so he's already had his moment, and we'll see if we can duck back a little bit further. We've still got a car stationary down at the bottom of the field there.
And that there, I'm seeing, is that Tixia who is actually so much carnage there on that one too, and nowhere to go for most of those cars either. I mean, you come around the corner and it's pretty much off. Well, if we get back to the race, Loxton back in 19th position, and a couple of war work out of that car there. We have a bit of a look now. Briggsy has managed to get the move past Jordan Ross, so it hasn't been the restart that he possibly wanted, because Nets off there needs to watch out, because Briggsy looks like he has that car tuned in for the final 10 laps of this race. Brian Borg still leading away after that massive advantage. A slight little altercation there with the safety car where he got let through for a lap and got himself probably a 20-second gain would be my suggestion there. He probably got at least, and so really hard there after he lost a number after making contact with Sebastian Tixia, lost a number of positions. Those guys were up in the top 10 or around about there, and he has gone all the way back there, so we'll have to see how he goes here. Oh, look at that, moves over because Netsov has to block Briggs. This will give Briggs a nice little run though through the first couple of corners. Down the inside in the background though, I think we've seen was it Dodsey take a little bit of a go there and get through over obviously the Taipan Esports Todd Haynes. So Aaron Dodds now moved up into 6th position as well. And Tixia has to be very, very defensive now as Adam Briggs there. Yep, there we go. Dives down the outside, maybe looking for the crisscross here as they go around the corner. Maybe get an inside run coming out of this one. The big long right-hander. Heading down to turn 5, and he's not giving him any room. Briggsy puts a nose and has to go all over the curb. That's a bit of lawn mowing on the way through there, just keeping that grass trim. Laying a couple of stripes down the inside of the grass, and Jordan Ross needs to be careful on the back here. I'm sure his mate, Geordie Sinney, his teammate, probably won't try and make a movement at this point, but anything can happen in front of you here as Briggsy takes a dive down the side. Jordan Ross follow him through. Can the JK Science Synergy Sim Racing team make a little bit of an effort there to go through?
Yeah, that was nicely set up there too from Briggsy to get that move done. And that's off now in a lot of trouble trying to hold that position as Ross now very racy getting the nose in there.
Right at the right part of the track there for Jordan Ross there, and we can see Geordie sitting getting a little bit of edgy in the background. I'm sure he won't want to make contact with his teammate. We have seen it in races in AOSC 10 where the teammates have come together, so they will not want to replicate that again as he's using that curve and away. In the back, we've had a little bit of a moment here at the back, just checking out the replay now. Damien Johnson, you can see the damage on that car, the 33, and in the background there, making contact on the way through, just back left-hand corner. And that's Visma gone off in the Taipan Esports team through. Is that Matthew Brunt there, just making contact with him under brakes. Look at this, though, they're lined up though behind us. Jordan Ross hasn't managed to have that pace to really go past him, and Geordie Sinney, there's not one bit of daylight between him and Jordan Ross, and hanging off the back. They're going to have to watch because Aaron Dodd will be looking to make a move as we get down to the final 7 laps of this race. Dodd can't hold along for too long. Geordie Sinney might be doing the nice thing by his teammate, but he's going to have to watch out because if he doesn't do something soon, Aaron Dodd will manage to get past both those cars and start to move his way through. Brian Borg out in front still with a little bit of a lead at the moment there, and got up. Premier Racing Team Adam Briggs now has a few laps left to try and close that gap down because he's got past Kuznetsov in the last lap, and really has to put the pressure on the Borg. He's just looking at the last laps there. So Brian Borg out in front of 1:45.11. Last time round was Adam Briggs with a 1:45.88, although that was an overtaking lap. So it'll be interesting to see what this next lap has in tune in terms of times, and see if he can start to close that gap down to Brian Borg.
Interestingly, just looking at the sector times between Borg and Briggs, there's absolutely nothing in it. It's a couple of hundredths of a second through turn 1, a tenth of a second in favour of Briggs through sector 2. Wait to see what they get as they cross the line, but the gap's sitting around 1.6 seconds at the moment for Borg. So he's found a little bit of pace in that car after what we saw in the earlier exchange, where in 4th position really didn't have the pace to stick with the front runners. He's got something in there now that's helping him out.
And there's 2 things you have to do here. One, you have to close the gap down. Briggs has to catch up to Borg and get all over the back as Jordan Ross has a little bit of a look there, dives over the curb to see if he can get on the inside of Kuznetsov and maybe get a run, but Rick doing a nice job here, and let's just hope he can hold out under pressure. Talking about the leaders though, it's one thing to catch up to Brian Borg, which I think Briggsy probably has a bit more pace. It's another thing to get past him. You're going to have a lot of pace, or he's going to have to go by. Norrie, how aggressive does Briggsy have to be if he can catch up to Borgie with a couple of laps left?
Not very. I'm going to support Briggs here. He's got the pace to definitely get by Brian Borg. Brian, as we know, has been struggling in some of these races, so it'll be interesting to see how defensive he does get, but I reckon Briggs has got the pace to get on through and get this win.
Qualifying out the big there. I reckon between qualifying, he had a qualifying car, which I reckon is the 17, the 017. I reckon with Corey Shepherd not there tonight, I reckon he's jumped in the Shepherd's car for the race.
That was a quick livery change.
Yeah, well, you know, trading paints, those guys at trading paints do a pretty good livery change pretty quick. He's had 3 weeks to stick in the car up and have them identical.
We will see just exactly how soon that becomes fruition.
I kind of hope that Brian Borg now gets in the top 3, so we have him in an interview and we can ask him if that was Corey Shepherd's car with just a wrap put on.
Or if that is in fact Corey Shepherd on Brian's account.
I don't reckon we'd see that. I reckon we'd have the Mr. Antenna livery on there if that was the case. Tom Freer there you can see in traffic too, so the early pit stops for him with that little bit of altercation, getting caught up in some stuff early in the race has not worked out as well for him as he probably would have expected either. As we get on board now with Jordan Ross, you can see here just looking for any little slight thing that Kuznetsov does wrong to take advantage of. And Jordan Ross here on the outside. Kuznetsov's super defensive and he'll be losing a lot of time doing that as well. As we see him just give him a little bit of a nudge there, right up on the inside rear bar there from the camera. That's one of those extension poles, isn't it, on the GoPro, so it goes under the car in front. Is that what it is? It's a special camera. We've got a hydraulic arm on it. That's how it goes. I tell you what, Jordan Ross, so you think there maybe the temperatures will, the tyre temperature can be, it's a hot track, so last thing you want to do is get caught up behind someone and maybe increase those temperature on the tyre, or you're going to lose that opportunity to take advantage of what was probably an early opportunity to be aggressive and make that manoeuvre there, as we look like Briggsy is catching right up to the back of Brian Borg, and it's down to 1 second already. So, you know, I think there is no issue with Briggsy catching up to Brian Borg. I think, though, Brian Borg's not going to make it easy for him. He's not going to let him go by. Borg, he's been quite a bit of time since we had a chat to him on the podium, so I'm sure he's keen to have a chat with us, guys.
I don't reckon that Jordan Ross's the tyre temp is going to be the thing. I think the in-cabin temp, because he's going to be boiling under that helmet. That is not going to be a happy camper back there in 4th after being robbed of an almost certain podium.
Well, it's not over yet. We still have a few laps left to go in this race, so anything could happen there because he's right on the back of Kuznetsov, and maybe, just maybe, they'll make that change. I'm looking up. Is that Dodd gone in, or is my timing screen playing up? No, Dodd's gone through, so we have an issue there. Where has it gone? Jordan Ross maybe has made contact with Kuznetsov there, I think. That's what we're going to say there, because Aaron Dodd has moved up to 3rd. Hayne now is 4th. Todd Hayne.
Finney and Kuznetsov involved in the incident.
There we go. Finney and Kuznetsov. In the meantime, let's have a look at the replay there. So Kuznetsov gets really defensive. Jordan Ross on the outside here as they turn into turn number 1. Lock up with the brakes there, though. Jordan Ross comes across. I think he's hit that sausage on the curb, and that you know, a bit of a trajectory there. Geordie's sitting, it's an really innocent at the back of that one. He wasn't too far behind him and has got caught up in that one. So race control have a little bit of adjudication to do on their hands here as Jordan Ross, let's have a look at it from the in-car view, comes up on the inside. Oh no, he doesn't even hit that side. Maybe just the car just understeering there. I don't know. Once they make contact, though, very hard to straighten that up. So that'll be a racing incident that the officials will have to look at. I would say with the number of laps left in this one, it might be an after-race penalty that happens on that one, guys.
Yeah, I'd call that post-race. I'm happy I'm sitting here in the commentary box, not the actual adjudicator's box in that one.
Yeah, interesting how that'll unfold, but wait to see what happens. But good news here for Aaron Dodd, though. That's promoted him now up to 3rd position. So 7 spots gained so far tonight. He's got himself a nice little advantage over Todd Haynes in that Type N eSports car. Sean Linsell just in behind. Jamie Dyke a little bit further back. He's picking him early on. Matty to have a good run here, and he's up now 10 spots in 6th position. A little further down the field with Christian Smart on Matt Thompson. Smart trying to sell him the dummy down the inside, and he's going to get that move completed. And just behind those guys, we saw Rob Bowden and Greg Sharp getting in to a little bit of an exchange as well.
Well, this is actually a good run from Greg Sharp here tonight in the Coda Sim Sport entry because he has made 17 positions at the moment in the Penrite car. So he's having a great little one here, and maybe this is the livery they're going to stick with for the rest of the season. He's had a little bit of luck there as Bowden manages to get past him, but just needs to keep a cool, calm head at the moment because they've only got a few laps left in this race, and you never know. The front runners are really pushing hard, and he might end up with a bit more luck there, I reckon, Sharpie.
Definitely coming on strong. He just got dropped back a position, so it's down to 16 spots gained in 14th now, with Rob Bowden managing to get that move completed on him. So a little bit of a tussle still going on back up front. However, Borg has just been able to extend that gap just marginally as well. It's 1.3 seconds over Adam Briggs. Back down the field, they're still fighting over the sheep stations with Newton, Barnes and McAvoy all amongst it.
Bowden makes another position there, dives up the inside, and I tell you what, Matt Thompson's car is not much of it left. No boot, no spoiler, mate. Metalwork's all out of shape. Livery's gone down the side. That would be a handful to bring home that car at the moment, especially with someone like Rob Bowden trying to make those moves. He did manage to get that position back though, Matt Thompson. So the privateer getting a nice little run here in 12th position and has gained 14 positions so far from the start of this race, although it's going to be a handful now to finish things off as we complete lap 28. The 29th lap we are on at the moment, which means we got 3 or 4 laps complete in this one. So we'll wait to see how that goes. It's Bowden now going to make another move on the inside here. Can they get him on the brakes? Greg Sharps is going to sit in the background and just try and stay out of this little fight at the moment. We've seen so much contact in the latter half of this race that maybe it's just a good idea to still leave just enough room there if you need to take some evasive action. Looks like Bowden will hold on to this position though this time, and he might stay there in 12th position now, moved up 11 since the start of this race, and now looking forward onto Christian Smart and the Synergy Sim Racing, that 999 entry in front, maybe. Oh, contact here though. Oh, our broadcaster Nick has picked that up at the right moment, and that is not what we wanted to see.
Yeah, that's a huge lick for those guys. Turn 3, race control all over it. We'll see whether we can dart back on the replay here to check out what happened. So it started a little bit further ahead. You can see some too wide between the guys there, and then a little bit of contact, and yeah, not much any of those guys could do. Probably the big fortunate one was the Fishing Motorsports car. I think that was Blake Delaney, just able to take some avoiding action and keep clear of that one.
You know, I think it was Alex Newton there just rejoining the track, wasn't it, in the Team RaceKraft Motors. That's a bit upsetting there, and I just have a look at the times though, guys, which are quite surprising. Is you know, yes and no, but Brian Borg has actually set a faster time than Briggsy in the last lap. So we'll have to watch that and see, because it means it's going to be very hard for Briggs. Maybe just cooked those tyres a bit. Maybe he didn't take fresh tyres in that last pit stop. They would have.
In Sector 1 and Sector 3, that's where Brian's making his time. Sector 2 is still Adam Briggs's.
I mean, he does have fresher tyres, but we're not talking by a lot here. We're talking by 1 or 2 laps. So I wouldn't expect that to be that much of an advantage at this point. Briggs has just pushed it a little bit hard there to try and close that gap early, and maybe just a bit of degradation going on there. Or maybe just happy to get on that podium and take the second here tonight and keep it pretty comfortable, because it's definitely going to be a help when it comes to the championship points, because he does follow Corey Shepherd, who's not here tonight. So big advantage there for Briggsy if you can make it anywhere in the top, especially in the top 3, to get a fair bit of points in.
Watching these times coming down from Adam Briggs, he must have been watching the stream and hearing that we're heckling him because he was slower. He's just put in a faster first and second sector than Brian Borg.
Look at it close up too. That's very quick how that's done that. I mean, maybe he was just having maybe his teammate Dyso's just handing him a bit of smoked meat. He was just having a bit of a feed. Just having a bit of a moment there. Check out the last laps there. He's caught up by a 10th on the last lap, and we're down to the final lap now. The final lap with Brian Borg leading this race. Adam Briggs not only has to close the gap, he has to make a move. He's trying to stay there and grab that aero advantage there, the slipstream, get a pull along the straight. Every corner counts now, though. One mistake from Brian Borg will give Adam Briggs an opportunity to make a pass here on the final lap of race number 7 here. It's race 198 in AOSC, but we're in season number 11, all thanks to Jinx Shifters and RaceKraft Simulations. And at the moment, the RaceKraft car, Brian Borg out in front. We know he's supported by Isuzu trucks as well. The guys there from Premier Racing Team doing a nice job tonight. He got himself a little bit of an advantage here with a safety car blunder earlier in the race. He's used it as best as possible, but you know, in saying that, he had to restart the race. The guys were right behind him. His teammate Kuznetsov was right behind him, and Brian Borg managed to pull away from the group there, open up a little bit of a gap. By the time Briggs got through, he hasn't been able to close it right up until these final few corners. Now it's down to 0.4 of a second. We're down to the final few corners of this race. It's almost over. 150 kilometres here tonight. We're on the final lap, lap number 31 from Barcelona, Catalunya.
The sectors are going in the right way, but the direction of the lap counter is going in the wrong way for Adam Briggs. This is not going to be what he wants to see. He's made the time and the gap, but he's not going to get the move.
A little bit wide there from Borg. He needs to be careful not to drop a wheel. Briggs just looking on, holding his line, hoping that maybe one mistake will be the difference between first and second. They come onto the main straight though. Borg goes out wide, but not wide enough. The flash of the lights. He'll be so happy to come home and get this win. It has been a while since we spoke to him. It hasn't been since AOSC 10 last season when we spoke to Brian Borg at the podium. Like, he's pretty happy. Look at him in the background there as he'll go through and take home 6th position too. So he's had a nice advantage here tonight. A new name we see on the podium, Aaron Dodd in 3rd position. So it'd be great to have a catch up with him in the 9.5 Sim Sport entry. Todd Hayne in 4th, Sean Lindsell in 5th. We said before, Jamie Dyke in 6th. In 7th, Jordan Ross, who's already exited out after that incident in the race a little bit earlier, and I'm sure it's boiling over inside the helmet in the simulator. Geordie Cini caught up in that incident as well back in 8th. Jacob Knight ends up in 9th. Rick Kuznetsov then goes back to 10th after that incident with Jordan Ross. So we'll wait to see what the officials say with that post-race, because I dare say we are going to see something come out about that one.
Definitely, I think we'll have to wait and see how that one unfolds. That was a huge leak for all 3 of those cars involved in that, and a lot that the race control will need to look back through and make sure they make that right call on that one. But what a race that we saw from all the guys out there tonight.
Probably wasn't where we expected to see some of the guys, is it, when we look at the results here? I mean, they were our qualifying results. You look at Rick Kuznetsov start off the front row of the grid, didn't quite get the start. He caught up in some incident a bit later after the restart, after he restarted behind his teammate back down the field. So Kuznetsov there probably almost put that race together. Like we say, we've seen those moments from Kuznetsov. Hasn't got a whole race together, and unfortunately that incident, you know, almost brought home that first podium that he's seen in AOSC. But Brian Borg, we haven't seen him back up on the top of the podium for quite some time. The Premier Racing Team 017 takes the win here tonight in round number 7 of AOSC11. Adam Briggs in 2nd. He'll get himself a swag of points there to try and catch up to Corey Shepherd, who is not here tonight in racing. Aaron Dodd back in 3rd, and good to see him on the podium. Todd Hayne in 4th, so a great result from Todd Hayne. Sean Lindsell in 5th, Jamie Dyke in 6th, Jordan Ross back to 7th, with Geordie Cini behind. Jacob Knight in 9th now. Rick Kuznetsov ended up in 10th. Christian Smart in 11th. Rob Bowden fought hard in the end to get to 12th. Matt Thompson in 13th. The privateer did a great job, especially the amount of damage he had in that car. And later, in the final moments, got past Greg Sharp for 14th. So Greg Sharp in 15th in the end, but a nice race from Sharpie. Brett Loxton in 16th. Nathan Moore in 17th. Tom Freer, look, the strategy didn't work for him tonight. Back in 18th position, got caught up in some traffic there, and the early stops didn't give him that free air he was probably hoping for. Thomas Freeman in 19th. Then it goes Simon Mazzomo in 20th there. Aaron Gilbert in 21. Nicholas Timors in 22. Sebastian Flock 23rd. Tyson McAvoy in 24th. Blake Delaney 25th. Matthew Brunt 26th. And Anthony Visma in 27th. Hayden Harrison 28th. Brad Ratu was a bit further up the pack there, but caught out late in the race in 29th. Justin Clayton in 30th. David Coleman 31st. Matt Monday in 32nd. Then it goes to Mark Howard in 33rd. Chris Barnes in 34th. Dylan Thompson 35th. Jaden Borg back in 36th. Johnny Rowe in 37th. Adam Hayne in 38th. Alex Newton in 39th after re-entering and getting caught up with Harry Dodds, who ends up in 40th. Damien Johnson brought home a very bruised and battered Synergy Sim racing car in 41st. Andrew Dyson, the Phoenix Smokers, will be looking to get out early and taste that tasty meat from his smoker, I reckon. Back in 42nd, Michael Whiting, in 43rd. Sebastian Tixier in 44th, another one who got involved in some race incidents. And our American friends, Jeffrey Eddy, back in 45th position, guys. And mate, who are your standouts, Dan?
Look, it's a tough one. I think Rick put on a fantastic show of driving to hang with the top two early on there in that third position. I mean, he had everything for both Briggs and Jordan Ross there early on. A little unfortunate with the way the race sort of panned out at the back end for him, but it drove the wheels off the thing early on, and he looked very, very sharp out there. For Brian Borg, it was a good turn for him throughout the race. I mean, obviously, we saw early on, didn't get the pace that he needed, but with the way the pit stop cycled through and the way that the safety car fell for him, was able to get that car up in front. And towards the back end there, had more than enough to cover off Adam Briggs, which was great to see.
Well, speaking of impressive drives, tonight, it's been a while since we spoke to him, but on the top of the podium, the 017 comes home, the Premier Racing Team, fearless leader, Brian Borg. Welcome in the commentary box, and congratulations on a win tonight.
Yeah, boys, get the dogs. Yeah, mate. That safety car, when that came out, I just had a feeling just to go around one more time, and it paid off.
Yeah, look, a little bit of advantage from you there tonight, but on the restart, though, super impressive to pull away from the pack. I mean, your teammate, Rick Kuznetsov, was very fast tonight and unfortunately involved in a race incident a bit later on. But you managed to move away from him as well. So the back half of the race, where did the pace come from in the car?
I think with the first part of it, I just cooked my tyres too quick. When you're behind the car, you're using a lot more tyre, and I pitted early, so then people who pitted later than me just had a tyre advantage. So I had the tyre advantage on the I had a 1 lap tyre advantage after the safety car. So, and I had clean air, so it was good.
Look, I want to know, Corey Shepherd's not here tonight. Is that Corey Shepherd's car just with a new wrap on it? That's what we want to know. Is that where the pace come from?
Yeah, we did swap chassis, and yeah, now I know where he gets his speed from. So it's not just him, the driver. It's just it's the car.
Yeah, it's just a bit of the car. So Nori, mate, you lost the bet there. I told you it's probably a Corey Shepherd car.
I'll take that one.
Oh, look, mate, Briggsy in the final moments got a little bit close to you. We thought maybe we were going to see a battle for the last couple of laps. You managed to hold him out. Congratulations, mate. Good to hear your voice. Good to have you back on the podium. And, mate, you better do a big shout out to your sponsors.
Yeah, just want a big shout out to RaceKraft Simulations for their continued support to the team. We're growing as a team for TMB, PPG, for Fintech Collectibles, and Hazuzu Trucks, and everyone else who I've forgotten. But I wasn't expecting a win. I was probably expecting a podium, but man, I'm stoked. And yeah, Adam did bring it home strong, but it was just about controlling the race at the end. Thank you, guys.
Tentatively, I'm going to say that's going to help you out in the championship point and might put you up there in the top 3 as well after tonight. So a good result there, and good result for a Premier Racing Team with Corey Shepherd. I think we'll still come home in front in the championship. So probably good going. We're almost halfway through the championship. That's a good solid start.
Yeah, it is a good start, and I'm glad that I thought Rick was going to be up there, to be honest, but obviously something happened to him. I haven't seen it yet. Unfortunate for him, but yeah, good result for the team. I'm stoked, and well done to Adam as well.
You got some talent in that team. Rick, I think he's had some moments. I spoke about it all throughout the race. He's had some really good qualifying moments, some really good moments in races, and mate, when that comes together, we're going to see plenty of podiums from him as well. So you got a great team behind you. Congratulations tonight, and yeah, we'll look forward to. Obviously, we go back to an endurance next week. So yeah, 650k. Who are you teaming up with?
I'll make sure Corey's back for that one.
Yeah, Suzuka, mate. GP circuit. That's going to be a good one too.
Yeah, it is going to be a good one, Suzuka. We haven't been there for a while, but yeah, fun flowing track as well.
All right, mate. We'll let you get out of here, but yeah, congratulations to the RaceKraft team, yourself, and on the win. And we look forward to talking to you again soon.
Cheers, guys. Appreciate it.
So we bring in number 2 on the podium tonight. Almost got there, and he was catching, but it just ran out of laps at the moment. Briggsy, you're up on the podium again and getting the swagger points in the championship.
Yeah, ran out of time, ran out of tyres. Yeah, Borgie drove great. Sometimes it's all got to come together for a win. You got to get a bit of lick of the luck and some great pace there at the end as well. So yeah, congratulations to Borgie. But yeah, a bit lamenting that the pace car picked up the wrong person, but that's okay. That's racing. So anyway, yeah, so it was a good race, and yeah, we'll just keep chipping away and getting results and points.
Interesting to hear about the tyres. We thought possibly they had gone off. How much of that tyre did you have to really push on and use to get past Kuznetsov early on the restart? And of course with Jordan Ross behind you as well.
Yeah, you got to tear off a little bit more of the tyre than you probably want. And then obviously I had to bridge the gap as well. So then you're stressing the tyre there as well. So by the time I got to Borgie, they were hot. Had to cool it for a couple of laps, lost a little bit of time, and then started coming back at him again. But yeah, we just tried our best. I think we had a decent setup tonight. But yeah, we'll just keep one step in front of the other. It's good points for the championship. Nearest competitors finished behind me. So yeah, we'll just keep moving forward.
I do have to ask when it comes to the pit stop strategy, of course, the minimum 2 pit stop strategy, we know you really only have to pit once. You don't have to put a lot of fuel in if you don't want to make it through for 31 laps on these sprint races. When you come into a race like this, do you stick to a pit stop strategy, or are you sort of just going off what the other competitors are doing, and that's sort of a bit of a fluid, what you're doing, I suppose. You know, you change it up compared to what the leaders, a bit of reactive to what the leaders are doing?
Yeah, a little bit like that. But then also you get safety cars thrown into the mix that sort of dictate a strategy to you, which is what happened with the second pit stop tonight for most people. The first pit stop was very variable. I was actually that safety car in a sense probably brought me back into it, because after the opening pit stop, I was sort of awash of the lead and had a couple of off-track excursions and stuff like that. So yeah, win some, you lose some on that one, really.
All right, mate, we'll run through your sponsors, and congratulations on second place tonight. Yeah,
thank you very much. So obviously I want to thank the guys here at AOSC Broadcasting for the fantastic product that they put onto streaming services each round. I also want to thank simrigs.com, Southwell Lifts and Hoists, Ben Max Mechanical, BetSmart Racing Services, Alcoholder, Phoenix Smokers, and of course NP Designs. All those guys make the car go round, so thank you very much.
Mate, it was fantastic. You're chalking up a few podiums at the moment, which is what we like to see, and that's three rounds in a row you've been on the podium, so imagine what you could do. And you're teaming up with Daiso next week for the big one, the 650 at Suzuka.
Yeah, Suzuka's going to be great. I don't think I've done a lap in the supercar at Suzuka, so there's a bit of testing to be done over the next week or so. But yeah, it's a fantastic track. I did a lot of Porsche Cup stuff there and GT3 stuff way back when. So yeah, it's a fantastic circuit with lots of passing opportunities, and it's very dynamic. So it's going to be good.
Yeah, we can't wait to see how you come out of that one, and definitely will help you out in the championship tonight. So congratulations, second place, Adam Briggs tonight in the simrigs.com DPR entry, and third on our podium tonight is someone we haven't really had much. We haven't actually had him in here very often. Or at all, I don't think. The 9.5 Sim Sport entry of Aaron Dodd tonight, mate. You get yourself third place on the podium. You get to come in and have a chat with us.
Yeah, g'day fellas. How you going? Yeah, got a little podium there. Cheers to the boys in front, causing a bit of carnage. So yeah, it's just lucky tonight.
It's not all luck, mate. You got to be in it to win it. And if you're too far back, you know, you're not going to get that opportunity. You know, you were working your way in. You didn't do too bad in qualifying either, because you were 10th place come qualifying, but you managed, you know, to make a few positions up there throughout the race. And even after the second pit stop on the safety car, you were just off the back of that little pack there, back in about 6th position. So a few cars getting an altercation does help. But look, mate, a nice drive from you tonight.
Yeah, the quali didn't go too good at all. I was about half a second off the pace, so I was looking for a top 3 in the quali, but it didn't work out. It was my first laps for the day, and then my race pace is always pretty good, but fighting through the traffic and that was pretty hard. but the safety cars really helped me to close the gap to the boys in front, and yeah, that's what helped me, the safety car tonight, and yeah, just stoked on the drive. Good stuff.
How are you finding getting the setups on the car for the different tracks? Is it sort of coming to the team, or are you really struggling at some tracks and having better setups at others?
Well, tonight was this track's it's like ice, so it was a bit difficult with the setup, but we pretty much run like the same and just tweak it for each setup track. All the boys in the team work really hard, especially Dylan. He's like the top guy in our team who helps everyone out, and yeah, our setups are pretty good. And tonight wasn't the best, but that's what it's like every week.
Oh, look, mate, go through all your sponsors, let them know, and big shout out to them.
Yeah, cheers to all our sponsors, all the boys at 95 Sim Sport, Sean for doing everything he does, SRT Australia, RaceKraft Simulations, iClean Solar, Ipswich and Brisbane, Boss Surveillance Systems, 3D printing services, Cutting Edge Tracks, Racing Ears Custom Ear Protections, RSW Graphics, and Bowler Media.
Yeah, he's Tommy putting some photos together from tonight, I'm sure. And mate, congratulations on the third place, and definitely get some points when it comes to the championship. And hopefully, we're almost halfway through the championship. Hopefully, we'll talk to you a couple more times this season.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Cheers, guys. Catch up.
Well, there you go. Aaron Dodd, third place tonight. And yeah, maybe a little bit of luck at the end of that, boys. Just a little bit of an altercation from a few cars there, but he was there and he took advantage of it.
Well, yeah, he drove a great race, and I think you hit the nail on the head. You got to be in it to win it, and he didn't give up on that one, and was able to come in, pick up the pieces after a few guys in front. Just lost their way a little bit, and we saw that bump and run that put the top, or what was third, fourth, and fifth out of the spot there. So great job from him to come and pick that up. But fantastic racing up and down throughout the field tonight, and really looking forward to seeing how these things will go around Suzuka. It's going to be a very unique challenge for these guys, and very different to what we've seen so far.
Well, it was fantastic. No, Adam Briggs is so cool, calm, and collected, isn't he? I mean, he's just like, yeah, had to cool the tyres down, didn't quite have enough. Like, he's so calculated when it comes to this racing. I really love that from him. He knows what's going on with the car. He knows not to push it too hard. Very reliable in that situation, and it was great to hear from Borgie, I think, too. You could just really hear that emotion. It's been a long time since we've had him on a podium. In terms of, he was probably up there, always in the top 5. We've seen him regularly on the podium in season 10, but season 11 we haven't seen him yet. And hats off to him. A bit of an advantage there from the safety car, but he took the moment and he got away on the restart there and managed to hold out Briggsy. It was absolutely fantastic to have a talk. It was absolutely fantastic to just hear that emotion come out and how happy a guy he is, especially when he's on the top. He doesn't have to win to be happy, but it definitely does help from him. I believe we might have a couple other people in our waiting room that might want to actually have a bit of a chat with us. Might actually see Tom Freeman might be here for a chat here, and probably wasn't his night tonight, despite last week where we seen him on the podium in third position, and he's top 10 when it comes to the championship. But Tom Freer, we just dragged you in the commentary booth tonight and caught up a little bit early there, mate, and it probably didn't help you keep your strategy.
Yeah, it wasn't ideal. Well, obviously, I took the early stop, but I crossed the blend line coming out of the pits, which gave me a 26-second stop and hold. So it doesn't make for an easy race, but at the end of the day, to come back from 40th, not too bad.
We weren't 100% sure why you dropped back so far. We thought with the early stop, we would have seen you up there. We know you would have got caught in a little bit of traffic, but yeah, a bit of push and shove there about halfway through the first lap as well. I mean, everyone really good through the first couple of corners, though, a bit of room, but later on you got shuffled around a bit in there.
Yeah, I think it's just the way the track is laid out. It's obviously very wide, so there's opportunity to pass. And with everyone nose to tail on that first lap, there is a lot of opportunity to go a bit deeper on the brakes. And I think between a lot of us, we might have different mentalities. I know for myself, it's just stay out of trouble, whereas some of the people behind might want to make their moves early. So it's sort of what you expect to happen, but as the stops play out, you then spread out and you get to see everyone's true pace. And I think that's where you would have seen it all sort of shuffle back to the order it was.
It just goes to show how important sometimes it is to get in that top 5 or 6, doesn't it, when it comes to qualifying, just so you can. I suppose the guys at the top are more like that. They understand the 30 laps is just get by the first couple laps, get those tyres up to temperature, and then take your opportunities from there.
Yeah, for sure. It's obviously about, at the end of the day, we're all targeting the end game. So it's not about lap 1, it's about 30 laps later, and that means keeping your car clean and out of trouble early. That's what you have to do, and you'll find as the race goes on, the people who play their race really smart will work their way forward.
Look, mate, take us through Suzuki. You done too many laps there in a supercar?
I've actually never turned a lap at Suzuka since the rookie classes, I think, in iRacing officials. So it's going to be a very interesting week for me. It'll be tough. I'm either going to love it or I'm going to hate it. But either way, 110% effort and get the most out of it.
Yeah, mate. We'll hope to see you back. Obviously, last week we got to have a chat with you as well up on the podium. So it's all there, mate. If it comes together, you might know like you won at Suzuka there, and you can put that together and just get yourself in the right position come qualifying.
Fingers crossed, that's for sure.
Look, great to talk to you, Tom, and we know you'll definitely put up a fight at Suzuka. Big shout out to all of our sponsors, though, for tonight. It is round number 7 from Barcelona, of course, Catalunya. Jinx Shifters and RaceKraft Simulations. We couldn't do it without you guys. Some great products there. You want to get us set up, Johnny and the boys in WA. We don't have to say it again. Jinx Shifters, get one. They are quality, Australian made. You just look it up on their website. It's absolutely fantastic equipment. You can get all your brake bias adjusters and everything through those guys. And watch out for what Simon and the guys are doing, because we've seen them in some real life electronic gearboxes in real life as well now. So they make some fantastic products. Simrigs.com, of course. You can get plenty of products from them as well, and they support RaceKraft Simulations. AJ Insurance Services, Acuta Materials as well. Team 126 Racing over in the United States for broadcasting and being part of this when we see, obviously, Eddie there getting involved there as well in the racing. Race Circuit Art Australia do some fantastic trophies for us and anything laser cut like that. And, of course, Track Cams for Gourmets, who provide some extra additional camera angles there for our broadcast. A big shout out to Nick Houser in the background for doing the broadcast. Daniel Leet and Matthew Norris, thanks tonight, guys. Been a fantastic broadcast.
Thanks, Cav. Always good.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. Thanks, mate.
And I'm Matty Kavanagh signing off for tonight. Hope to see you again here for the 650K from Suzuka coming to you next week for race number 199 in AOSC11, round number 8.